Why embrace emptiness? There are moments in life when, looking at the world around us and at times within ourselves, we are overcome by a kind of indignation, a deep perplexity. We see values being inverted, truth being distorted, and the pursuit of something genuine seeming increasingly rare. We can almost hear a lament echoing from time immemorial, a question that, though asked millennia ago, sounds urgently relevant today. O sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love delusion and seek after lies? Selah. This passage found in Psalm 4 verse 2 is not a plea but a direct interpellation, almost a cry of anguish. It is the voice of the psalmist David, who even amidst his own adversities, which we know were great, lifts his soul to confront humanity itself. He is not just asking God for something, he is expressing the pain of seeing dignity, truth, and what is sacred being reviled. It is a challenge, a forceful invitation to reflect on the choices we make and the values we embrace. This is not a prayer for personal help, but a lament and a warning about the human condition, the dishonor of glory. How long will you turn my glory into shame? The expression, O sons of men, addresses us, each one of us. It's not just David's enemies, but human nature itself with its inclinations and choices. The initial question, how long will you turn my glory into shame, is of overwhelming depth. What glory is this? It can be the glory of God, His essence, His truth, the beauty of His creation, the holiness of His principles, the very dignity of human beings created in His image. To turn this glory into shame means to dishonor, disfigure, distort, profane. It's taking something that has intrinsic value, that is noble or true, and debasing it, staining it, transforming it into something shameful or worthless. Let's consider how this manifests in our time, in our own lives, or in society around us. How many times does the pursuit of power, money, or recognition lead us to compromise principles, to defame reputations, to turn what was good into something dubious? Dr. Altamiro's story is a vivid example of this question. At almost 60, Dr. Altamiro had dedicated a lifetime to scientific research, with unquestionable rigor and integrity. His name was synonymous with ethics in his field. At the end of his career, he was leading a project that promised a significant breakthrough in public health, something that would benefit millions of people. However, his project's funding depended on the approval of an influential committee. A colleague, driven by envy and a desire for control, began to spread insinuations about Dr. Altamiro's methodology, distorting data and casting doubt on his honesty in key environments. These were not direct accusations, but venomous whispers that planted the seed of distrust. For Dr. Altamiro, it was as if his glory, the glory of his impeccable reputation, his honest work, and the promise of his research, was being deliberately turned into shame. His soul ached not only from the personal injustice, but from the profanation of truth and good science. The how long echoed in his spirit. How long would people turn altruism into suspicion, rigor into perceived fraud? This question from the psalm resonates when we witness the distortion of what is sacred, be it truth, others' honor, or even the integrity of an ideal. It is the pain of seeing beauty and dignity stained by malice or others' vanity. The allure of emptiness. How long will you love delusion? The second part of the question, how long will you love delusion, invites us to an even deeper reflection on our priorities and affections. Delusion here does not just refer to excessive concern with physical appearance, as we often use it. In the biblical context, delusion in Hebrew hevel means more than that. It is futility, emptiness, what is without substance, what passes and leaves no legacy, what is illusory. It is that which, when pursued, offers no lasting satisfaction, but only a breath, a mirage that dissipates. What the psalmist questions is the love, affection, devotion to these ephemeral and empty things. Why do we cling so much to what has no weight, to what does not nourish the soul? Imagine the story of Mrs. Cecilia. From a very young age, she was taught that success was measured by material possessions and social approval. She worked tirelessly to build an image of perfection, the impeccable house, the latest cars, luxurious trips, participation in important social events. She spent fortunes on clothes and jewelry that made her feel accepted in certain circles. Upon reaching her early 50s, with all the achievements that society valued, Mrs. Cecilia realized that behind the entire facade, there was a deafening emptiness. The laughter at events was superficial, possessions brought little lasting joy, and others' approval was as volatile as smoke. She had loved delusion, the illusion of fullness that materialism and superficiality offered. The "how long will you love delusion" echoed in her soul as a painful question. How long would she continue to chase shadows instead of seeking substance? How long would her heart cling to what could not fill the space that only true relationships, inner peace, and genuine purpose could occupy? The psalmist, with his incisive question, confronts us with the truth that the love of vain things is a trap that keeps us from true joy and meaning. It is an invitation to reevaluate what we truly value, and whether the object of our love is nourishing us or just emptying us. The dangerous pursuit, and seek after lies. The third and last part of the question, and seek after lies, is perhaps the most disturbing. It's not just about being deceived, but actively seeking falsehood, preferring illusion to harsh reality, feeding on untruths. This can manifest in various ways. Self-deception, refusing to face uncomfortable truths about oneself, about relationships, about life, seeking false narratives, preferring conspiracy theories or unverified news that align with prejudices instead of seeking facts, promoting misinformation, helping to spread untruths, consciously or unconsciously, that harm society or individuals. It is the choice to live in a bubble of illusions or to contribute to building a world where the distinction between truth and lies becomes increasingly blurred. Let's consider the story of Mr. Ricardo, a man who, in his desire for control and to avoid pain, built a carefully elaborated family narrative over the years, avoiding confronting past traumas and disagreements. He maintained the appearance of everything is fine for his children and grandchildren, even if the truth was full of unhealed wounds. He sought after lies of a superficial peace because the truth seemed too painful. He convinced himself that protecting the family from the truth was the best option, even if it prevented genuine healing and the building of stronger bonds based on honesty. For Mr. Ricardo, the psalmist's question was an uncomfortable mirror. How long would he continue to live and encourage lies, even if disguised as good intentions? How long would his family be deprived of the freedom that truth, however hard, could bring? The pursuit of lies is a subtle trap. It promises immediate comfort, but imprisons the soul in a distorted reality, preventing growth, healing, and the building of true relationships. The psalm calls us to an examination of conscience. Are we truly seeking the truth, or do we prefer to delude ourselves or be deluded by what is more convenient? The cry for authenticity and the psalm's answer. Psalm 4:2, therefore, is not just a lament from David, but a direct challenge to our own humanity. It invites us to a deep self-analysis. Are we, in some way, diminishing glory, be it God's, our neighbors, or our own dignity, in exchange for something superficial or deceptive? Are our hearts attached to delusion, to what is empty, ephemeral, that brings no lasting satisfaction? Are we building our lives on fragile foundations? Are we, consciously or unconsciously, seeking and feeding lies, preferring illusion to reality, or contributing to a world of falsehoods? The beauty and power of this psalm lie precisely in its ability to take us out of our comfort zone. It confronts us with an uncomfortable truth to propel us towards a life of greater integrity, a search for authenticity, and a valuing of what truly matters. The implicit answer to "how long" is "as long as we allow it." The psalm calls us to an awakening, to a conscious choice to turn our backs on dishonor, delusion, and lies, and to turn towards true glory, substance, and truth found only in God. It is an invitation to reflect on one's own soul and on the legacy we wish to build. Selah, the pause for a conscious choice. And concluding this powerful inquiry, the enigmatic word Selah appears as an irrefutable call to deep meditation. It is not a pause to move forward, but to stop and confront these uncomfortable questions in our own heart. It is an invitation not to ignore the psalmist's questioning, but to allow it to penetrate our consciousness and lead us to an honest self-analysis. In what areas of your life have you allowed glory to be turned into shame? Where have you loved delusion and sought emptiness instead of substance? Is there any lie you have sought or preferred, instead of embracing the truth no matter how difficult it may be? Selah is a moment not just to read, but to feel the weight and urgency of these questions. It is an invitation to make a conscious choice, to continue on the path of dishonor, delusion, and lies, or to turn towards the light of truth, substance, and genuine glory that comes from God and from a life of integrity. Therefore, may this Psalm 4:2 be a mirror for your soul, not as a condemnation, but as a loving and urgent invitation to deep reflection. May it inspire you to question your own choices, to seek authenticity above all, and to prioritize true glory, that which manifests in integrity, truth, and love for what truly matters. May the answer to how long be no more. From now on, I choose truth and substance,